right, we're glad to have you back. Now, there is growing concern among workers in the country as to whether the government will fulfill its promise of implementing a new minimum wage with just a month to the September proposed commencement date.
Indeed. Now, the organized labor, comprising NLC and the Trade Union Congress, had in May 2016 demanded an upward review of the national minimum wage from its current 18,000 naira to 56,000 naira. Now, Labour argued that the 5 years lifespan of the current minimum wage had expired since 2015.
And after 15 months of delay, President Muhammadu Buhari in November 2017 inaugurated a 30-member tripartite National Minimum Wage Committee for the negotiation of a new national minimum wage for Nigerian workers. Now, the federal government pledged to implement the new wage in September, but with just 1 month to the deadline, civil servants are anxious as to whether government will live up to its words or promises. Joining us in the studio is a public affairs analyst, Debola Adeniji-Adele. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Ma, and good morning, Nigerians.
All right, so are you as anxious as Labour as to whether government really can fulfill this promise? Do you even think government is in a position to fulfill it?
Well, let me sincerely with you this morning. I'm not a civil servant.
Yes.
I'm not in government, but we have been in it for a very long time. And if we wanted to be succinct to ourselves, it is long overdue. That is it. But I'm going to divide my statement this morning into two.
Okay.
One to the government and one to the civil servant we are talking about.
All right.
Okay? In law, as we see it and we hear it, it is 5 years review, every five years. And I think it's been a very long time. It has been. And when you look at the time it was in 5 years, our fuel that we are selling now then was how much? 95 naira. But today,
Per liter.
Per liter. But today it's 145 naira per liter. And the money still hangs as 118,000. So you look at it that they are proportionals. And I like those two guys that were left here this morning, that they probably doing it so that the bringing up Nigerians, we see that when we talk to them, when there's no money in their pocket, there's no food for them to eat, when we tell them what to do, they will do it. And even we can call them to somewhere to bribe them, they will even ready to like that. So the second one is that government has failed on their proper duties when they are paying 18,000. Some states in this country cannot be able to afford it. Even upon the bailout fund given to them by the Mr. President. Some are possibly go and use this money to pay for
salaries, outstanding salaries.
But at the end of the day, some people are saying only 18 months, 19 months, going to, you know, it's too. So we are looking at it that now they are agitating for 56,000 naira. Okay?
Yes.
Reasonable?
Well, that's a question we'd like to ask
NLC
you.
NLC is even demanding about 66,500 naira.
Okay, okay. But the Labour, even the government have not tell us how much they are going to pay. But in other words, my dear sister, government in one hand give a gap for corruption.
Okay.
Government in a gap give a chance for stealing. Why? Because you can't use a tipends of 18,000 to buy anything in this Nigerian today. Okay? Now, but these civil servant people, you are giving the 18,000, they are having the best houses in Nigeria today. How do they got the money? They are sending their school children to the best school in Nigeria today. Where do they get the money? So, it's because...
But not all civil servants anyway, so we don't generalize.
My sister, I agreed. But when we are talking of percentage, we will see almost 70%. Isn't it what a civil servant, they see almost 90 cars in his compound. It's not a civil servant.
In other words, the civil servant is looking for other means.
Other means.
Of making those ends.
That is the side, that is the side of the government. That's where I'm going. That's the side of the government. I agree that government should pay workers well. That is my stand. That's my stand. That government should give anybody than your coffer a very beautiful salary.
All right, now, government has already made Nigerians know that, yes, it's going to perform an upward review. So, yes, that is going to happen. But when, exactly, that is when it will happen is the question on the table now. The minister has already, dashed the hopes of not just the civil servants, really, but Nigerians, that it might not happen in September.
Okay, but before then, my dear sister, I've talked about the government. I said know where we are going about this question you asked. That on the civil service people, are they doing to the expectations of the money they are agitating for? Oh, you have not been to the civil servant people. You see the way the bureaucracy take place in the offices. Okay? So if you really that you are saying that you wanted to collect 80,000 per month, agreed. But do you work to that expectation? Why are you still working to that expectation? That the government has given you 80,000 know what they are doing? Okay?
In other words, you're asking the question whether civil servants have really earned their pay. Have they given a good account of themselves with the 18,000 they are getting now? But the same civil servants, the same workers will tell you that that 18,000 might just be the reason why they're not giving their best. Okay. Like they say, if you want monkeys, pay peanuts. If I recall that, that saying. But then again, that is not even the question, because what is on the table now is not whether civil servants are living up to expectation, whether they are covering the gap as far as their end is concerned. The question is this 18,000 naira. Okay, you said earlier that you actually you're in support of government paying the right wages. What would even be that living wage that the average Nigerian can take home that would really take care of the basics? What would be that living wage? I remember that former President Olusegun Obasanjo talked about a living wage, but we've not really been able to put a figure to it, considering again the present, the inflation rates, the state of the economy, and all of that, and all the other points that you raised.
Those people that enjoyed that, what Chief Olusegun Obasanjo did was teachers. Okay. Teachers. They will never say something bad about Obasanjo for what he did to them when he was there. But now, where I am going is this. In TVC, we praise you. We praise you for giving us that information as at necessary time. Means that there's no lacuna, there's no gap, there's no space. Because you are paying well. Okay? That make you to tracing to your duty as at every time. But when you are now talking of the civil servant, I'm talking of the local government level, going to the state level, and to the federal level. Then you will now go in there, you will see someone who comes to the office once in a week. I'm here. And we need to be still and say the truth, and nothing but the truth. You will see a civil servant that will come and clock his card, neither write his name, and go back home until another Friday when he knows that it's the weekend. And that one is expected to pay 80,000 per month. Okay? The sincerity of purpose in Nigeria today has been dashed. That people just looking for a corner where he can just steal and steal and steal when it has a chance. But then
would you blame the civil servant or the system that allows the civil servant to...
Okay, that's why we are saying that, okay, government should system. That if you know that these people are irrelevant into the place you feel you are going to pay them, eject them. Look at...
even suggestions of pushing most of them to agriculture.
People will say that it's been better because we wanted to advertise agriculture in Nigeria today. If it should be, and what we are agitating for is that all the jobs of all the works should be for the local government, should be the agriculture alone. Collecting rate, forget about. Let everybody that is in local government go to agriculture in the vicinity of the areas.
Well, people criticized the governor of Imo State, Rochas Okorocha, for setting aside a couple of days for public workers to actually go to the farms. It's almost like a no-win situation. But let's really come to it. Now, government said this was on the 40th anniversary of the labor when government promised that by September it will look at the upward review of the national minimum wage. Of course, the government government set up this 30-man committee, and some people have even asked the question, do you even need to set up a committee to raise the minimum wage if you really, really are sincere about doing it? Now that it's not looking likely, you have a National Assembly that's on recess that will not resume until September 22, and this new national minimum wage is supposed to take off from September. How realistic is it? Number one, on the one hand, can government really afford 56,000 naira or the 66 that the Labour is asking for now? Or is it a question of affordability? Or is the political will there to do the right thing, to pay workers, you know, that reasonable salary?
One, I'm not a lawyer, neither to defend the government, whether they will be able to pay it or not. It's not my best position to answer that.
Okay.
Two, this is why I'm saying that Nigerians should look back and not to be taken alive to play politics in everything that we are doing. Did you know that they wanted to do this thing by September? It's not yesterday, they said. Okay? It's almost 4 or 5 months ago.
February.
But by September, we now sit down with all these committees we are talking about, and those committees have not given down their reports. Probably, okay, government, this is what we have done. This is how much we think the government can pay to these people. I'm very happy. We have not heard that. But by September now, I think the man in charge...
It seems that that is supposed to happen in August. By August ending, we need to make that point.
Okay, let's see. Let's wait and see, because we are in August now. But in the left side of it, the man in charge, Dr. Chris Ngige, who has been one-sided telling us that he does not think that September will be...
It's realistic anymore.
Realistic. So we'll not see what's going to happen. But my best opinion, I think I'm the president of Nigeria today. The two things I'm going to do, overall, we've seen that almost they have recovered almost 3 trillion from the civil people who are ghost workers. It's a good one. Then we'll look at those who are viable. In each department, we have several departments in federal government people, and even state and local government. We'll look at them, that these are the viable people that I can vouch for. I think
productive class.
Yeah, of course,
okay.
that productive. Yes, God bless you. That productive. That, okay, if I can close my eyes and I want these people to be up standard to international standard, that this is my civil servant. What I want you to do is, if Nigerian can give them 100,000, is not too bad, my dear sister.
Do you think that is possible? First off, this is an election.
After he has done what I said, after he has done what I said, look, those who are productive. After, they now see, gauge them as 100,000 per month.
And I'll still ask you that question. You think that is possible for any government, your opinion?
My opinion.
Exactly. For any government to want to do that during this period, that is just how many months in an election? And two, don't you think, of course,
it is possible.
Other
it is
civil servants
what has made them to be paying councillor in a simple locality for 220,000 every month. It's possible. They are giving the super in every locality 220,000. It's possible. Likewise, the commissioners and other the SA and SSA fully in the state government, they are collecting the same salary. In other words, what are they doing? Like the civil servant is not doing. Prevention, it is the civil servant that are doing all this job.
If we're to take the calculation you just made now, if a councillor is earning or takes home about 200,000 naira, that means the councillor is taking home the salary of how many workers? About
agreed. But when we are talking of insensitive here today, you are the one that employ them. If you know you cannot pay them, why do you employ them? Okay, and you know that they are doing double job in there. What in the department might see 10 people there, only 2 people are working.
True.
Oh, don't worry, I'll take a chance. I'm going to see my kids somewhere. So you will not see them there. And when your letter is
But don't you think the problem really is more fundamental than that? It's not just a question of if you can't pay them, why are you employing them?
Yep.
Don't you think the structure right now, and many people have been talking and calling for restructuring of governance system and all of that in a way that you actually democratize the minimum wage. Zamfara can decide what it wants to pay its workers based on its internally generated revenue, for example, based on its earnings and what have you. Lagos can decide differently.
In fact, the governors demanded for that.
And all of that, they actually did.
Yeah.
So don't you think that might just be, one of the ways out?
That is what we said earlier, that they cannot depend on what the federal government is going to give them. That each state, if Lagos State closes its eyes today and say, well, I agree with you, the way you are serving us in Lagos today, he can pay any amount that he wish that he can pay to them. Lagos State have the power and capability to do that. But in some other states that only civil servant place, what are they generating? So that one will affect them. But in other words, when we look at it holistically, we see that you look at the beginning, when the computer, before we have the computer, but now that we have the computer now, you know how many workers that can do a job for you. A few people that you can be having a shifting of doing the job for you, and you have the perfect things. But now, they are just there. And the little things I see that I don't like at all is that the way they will attend to you, they will treat you as if you are not
would you support a reform of the civil service to allow,
if you can see that, that's a beautiful one. If you can see that, that's
before the implementation of the new
course now, yes.
All right, thank you so much.
Adebola Adeniji Adele, Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.